Welcome back to Joe's Toolbox Exchange. Today we're going to be looking at my personal setup here at our house. I said I would do this when we hit 1,000 subscribers, and we did hit 1,000 subscribers a lot quicker than I thought actually. I think it took us about 3 weeks. So I just want to say I really do appreciate you guys watching. I didn't really expect this many people to care what I had to say about toolboxes in general, but I am pretty passionate about these things, and as you can see, I keep quite a few of them, and I keep a lot of the tools. Before we get into looking at all the stuff we have here, I'd like to mention the giveaway. It ends on September 14th, so I think there's about 2 weeks left on that. It's for a KMC Klipsch speaker, like $300 new, and the pinned top comment will be to enter the giveaway for that. So this is the boxes we have here today. This is 3 Matco 4S's. They're all the same series. They're all 25 inches deep, although it's actually closer to 24. Matco says 25. So you have two 54s and then you have a 73. My 73 has power and neither of my 54s do either. The wheels do not match and that does annoy me, so that'll be the next thing I address. But frankly, I don't get a lot of time to use these tools. I started out this project buying and selling tools and toolboxes to build my own collection, hoping I'd be able to put those tools to use. But this has become a second full-time job on the side, so we really do not have time to be doing much wrenching. This started out as a wood shop, and I guess I have quite a few photos actually of what that looked like in the beginning, so I'll probably edit those in now. The ratio is going to be a bit strange because it's horizontal, so the photos will be from back then, several years ago, and older of what this used to look like through the iterations. I probably have 10 photos of that time period. Okay, and then on this side, if you want to show over here, this used to be a wood shop. So I had a huge Craftsman table saw here, and then a bunch of workbenches. We had a huge standalone router table, big drill presses, quite a few tools. We still have a table saw, but it's actually at work. It's like a job site, it folds up, so that's long gone. And then a lot of those woodworking tools ended up in here. So we had a huge jointer that had like a 8-foot feed table on it, but now we just have a tiny little jointer planer combination, a little Craftsman. We still have a router table, but it's much smaller than the one we had. It's just a little Bosch. We still have a planer, but it's a little lunchbox planer. So we got rid of our big one, and a couple automotive tools are in here. This is where we keep our jack stands, and also some blocks to stop the car from rolling back, and a shop vac that never gets used, and the stools is really all that gets left in here. This last cabinet is all kids' toys, but then up here we have like our bench grinder, and a lot of other tools that are not necessarily mechanic ends up here. Like this is all of my piping stuff for both PVC and copper for sweating brass. That's all up there. And then a lot of this stuff too is like electrical. This is all light bulbs, car detailing stuff, gardening stuff, a lot of that, and then chemicals at the bottom. I don't keep a lot of my tools over in these. It's more just for the big items that don't stay, along with like our sliding compound miter saw is up at the top. I'm editing this in. I went to post the video, and there's one more thing I forgot to mention. A lot of you guys ask what's the best way to maintain your tools. That's it. Getting a dehumidifier, especially if you're in a home setup. This is a drain line right here, so we didn't have to plumb anything. I just plug it into the wall, set the humidity down. In the winter, it doesn't matter, but in the summer, Indiana, it's extremely humid, and surface rust gets on all the tools, especially these vintage tools that do not have a finish on them. They rust fast. So you just drop it into your line, and boom, you're done. That's a water softener we put in. That's also a great idea. If you don't have one, you should put one of those in. But if you are looking for a way to keep your boxes nice for longer, that is it. They're cheap, they're easy to set up, you don't have to do anything, you just set it and forget it. I think I paid $100 for this dehumidifier, and it's been running nonstop all summer long. I don't really notice a difference on my electric bill, and I don't have to service it. At one point I had it over there and I had it just dumping out the garage, but I didn't like that, so we just plumbed it straight into this drain line here. And it's a great way to keep the humidity down, keep surface rust off of your stuff. And also when you're working, the floors are just always dry. So even if you have a lot of rain outside and a lot of, if you bring your car outside, it's got rain on it, it dries off in like an hour. So it makes working on it a lot easier because you don't have all the moisture. So that's just something I forgot to mention. I would definitely recommend that. And then on this side, so we actually look at the toolboxes. We'll start on the left side. This is kind of cool. It's a Yeti display from a store that went out of business, and the shelves are really strong for what it is. So I think we picked this up for like $100. Originally, it was one of those floor models that has wheels on it and like shelves on both sides. We just ripped the shelves off the back and drilled it right to the studs. So that's where we keep our coolers. I spend too much money on those. And then also like on this side, and you can see behind you is like gardening tools. I try to keep that stuff closer to the garage door because we do get water when it rains when you like pull a vehicle in. So I try to keep my tools and things that I really care about at least 3 feet off the edge of the garage. You'll see when I buy a lot of these boxes, they'll have rust on one side. That's because it was the side closest to the garage door. So you just constantly get the elements coming in, especially in the winter when they'd open that garage door. So I try to keep that in mind with my own stuff. The water might come in a foot or two if it's angled or windy, and it's a little bit more protected just sitting this way. I don't really care as much about the shelf, so if it gets rusted, I don't care. I picked this up. This was really cool. This was off for a tired guy that was like 80 years old. So a lot of this hardware is outdated, but I have switched a lot of it over. I think I paid like $200 for the cabinet full of hardware, but a lot of it, you can see every drawer is just full of various hardware. You have a lot of stuff. You have like a lot of flathead screws that I really don't use. But whenever we get new stuff, we do add to it. So like this entire drawer here is just, there's some things I keep, but I'm not really sure why. But like this entire drawer is just solder flux. Like this is a lot of solder and a lot of flux, but I always keep it and I never use it. So there is some stuff like that that I just keep because I think is cool, not because it really has a practical use. Up there, that's probably my favorite tool. Honestly, if you guys don't have one, you should buy one. At the shop, we have the 12-volt version. That's the 18-volt. The 18-volt is a lot better, especially if you have like trailer tires that are 60 PSI. It'll get them there a lot quicker. It's just a digital, so you can just set it and walk away, and it runs off their 18 batteries. The 12-volt obviously runs off their 12-volt batteries. I think we also have another one of those in the truck we leave there. This is what we use when we're working on the road. If we're like helping a friend or something, we'll throw our tools inside of these bins. I think we paid like $100 a piece for them off Marketplace, and they're heavy duty and waterproof. So, a lot of our impacts and stuff and socket sets will just get trucked in there. I think that one does have tools in it. I think this one has SAE and metric wrench sets in it, along with 3/8 and 1/2 inch impact sockets. And then I just throw my impacts in there when I go. And that's pretty much all of that stuff. This one's actually a speaker. This is cool. We used to have one of them at the shop too. I had 2 of these. I sold the other one. The other one had the black logo on it. I kept the chrome one, but it's like a little KRA. Has like a facade on the front for the drawer pulls. It sounds pretty good and it's cool. It looks good in here. I've kept it. Yeah, see, this is like from the woodworking project. I forgot we even had this. I never finished it. But a lot of things like that. Maybe I'll show some of that on the screen now too. Some of the stuff we did make over the years. I don't really make much anymore. And it was never like big projects like furniture. I more just liked tinkering and making lamps and wall art and things of that nature. This was a spalted maple clock. We made like a series of 3 of these. This is walnut, a frame. These are the Lego pieces. This is a table made from that same spalted maple on top of a piece of driftwood. We made a lot of these little, using antique tools to make different types of lamps. This is a drill. These were a lot of drawings we did, and we'd make frames for them down the road. And we did quite a bit of wood burning, although that didn't last long. It was like a 2-month kick. I did wood burning. And then here's another lamp you made out of an antique hand plane. And then some various pieces of recycled pinball art on top of wood frames. And then just little welded animals like fish skeletons made from vintage wrenches. And little scorpions and other insects. We did quite a few of these. This type of tooling I kept, this is cool. These are old Bonnie, and they were neat. This used to be a USA company rather, but it has their Bonnie, and Bonalloy was the metal they made it out of. I'm not sure if they got a patent on whatever that was, but it was cool to see Bonalloy. They had that on all of their wrenches, and their stuff was just thick. I don't know if you can tell, but a modern day wrench is like 1/3 of the thickness there. So it's definitely not getting in anywhere. but on older vehicles, I guess that wasn't as much of a problem. And then like large stuff too gets hung in the back. Like these are aluminum pipe wrenches. They're like several feet long, so they stay back there. All of our magnetic trays stay underneath here, and I had a bunch of hand planes. I kept those from back when we were woodworking. They are still up there. Some of them are restored, some of them are not. Some of them are very nice, but well, I'm not gonna get them all down. This is mostly a chemical cabinet. Besides, I keep these. I don't know why. I never use them, but they're still in here. I had them before I went to Milwaukee, and they're still there. And that's just more chemicals, adhesives, and lubricants. And that's a US General, so hey, we're representing all the brands. On to the boxes now. So this one on the right is probably my most impressive one. This is gonna be where I have the most tools. If you wanna come stand on this side and film into it so they can actually see what I got. This is going to be my socket drawer. There we go. It's a total mix of brands. I'm not going to go through every single thing here, but even like right here, this is a Pittsburgh 1/2-inch breaker bar, and then that's a Snap-on 1/2-inch ratchet. I'm really not picky on the brands. If the quality is decent and it's a tool I don't use very often, it'll be a cheaper brand. If it's something I use a lot, it'll be a better brand. And some stuff is like decent. Like these are Sunex sockets. I picked them up for nothing. And I also never use 1/4-inch impact. So stuff like this just sits. But it is almost every set. I don't have any semi-deeps. That's something I never really got into or I found the need for. I'm sure if I was wrenching like you guys every day, maybe I would be trying to get the semi-deep sets, but I just don't. And also this drives me crazy, but like finding some sockets like a 6mm 3/8 drive shallow 6-point, a lot of companies don't even make this socket. So just trying to find it, well, in an impact, they don't make it. In the chrome, they do, but trying to find that socket in an impact is really hard. So it drives me crazy, but like these don't match, these don't match. And I've been looking those for years. Like every box I get in, if it had that socket, I would keep it. I'd pull it from a set. Snap-on doesn't make them, Matco doesn't make them. Sometimes one-off brands like SK makes a lot of one-off stuff, so pieces will get filled out with SK. That's why they don't always line up with the heights, because some sockets are just uncommon. The stuff in the back is all going to be 3/4-inch drive or 1-inch drive. These are spark plug sockets. These are swivels. These are my old hexes. I don't use them very much. Torxes, I have a better set below. I don't use them either. These are all adapters. These are going to be my 3/8 chrome. So you got obviously shallow and deep, SAE and metric. And then on this side is the impact version of that set. I don't have a lot of chrome 1/2-inch. This is all I have for chrome 1/2-inch, and it's my 12-point sets. A lot of that stuff is going to be like the vintage. These are actually Eastco. Eastco made really cool tools. I don't even know if they're still around, but they were all USA made. So with the brands like this, when I come across them, I keep a lot of that stuff. I think this one's even Eastco. Yeah, this one's Eastco too. So, you know, I keep a lot of that stuff. If it's a unique brand and it's a high quality tool, these on eBay, this set's worth less than 100. I'm just keeping it. It's worth more than that to me. And this is right. And this is another USA brand that is of high quality, just not quite of the quality of Snap-on, but the price is so much lower. It's easier to justify keeping a lot of that stuff for me. Same with like a lot of the Craftsman stuff. Like these are going to be your vintage Craftsman sockets that are all USA made. These are a good buy for what they are. You can pick a setup like that on eBay for like $60. I would highly recommend it. There's some stuff I don't use at all. I use the flip sockets a lot for wheels. All my extensions are on the side. I don't know. These are a pain to store, but this is what's always worked for me. It's just a magnetic rail on the side, and then, yeah, see there's another right extension. The brands are all over the place. I think it's like there's Blue Power by Cornwell. There's Craftsman. That's a Cobalt Husky SK. I liked SK a lot at one point. I kept a lot of SK stuff. I think it was worth the money for the quality of it. And then some sets don't even match. That's a Greenlee. I didn't even know they made sockets. And then like spark plug cleaners. My two torque wrenches are here. One's gear wrench. It's a 1/2-inch. And then I have a 3/8 Pittsburgh. I think I have another one that's out on loan. A lot of my tools are out on loan. I think I have a scanner out right now, a nail gun out on loan, a brad gun out on loan, a torque wrench out on loan. I don't mind lending stuff out, especially when I don't even use this stuff much myself. That's another spark plugs, or another wheel flip socket set. Yeah, it's like, I don't even use these. These are low profile sockets. They fit inside of here. I guess we'll show this drawer next. That's the ratchet drawer. So this, I think, was a present from somebody. Yeah, it's Master Force. So they're, you know, low profile, and then you can fit your fastener all the way through it. I don't know if I've ever used this set in my life, but it's there. It's cool. Yeah, my ratchets are also, once again, for everything is going to be like this. These are cool. These are 100 anniversary ratchets. These are the exact same ratchets, only non-100. This is a 1/2 inch. I use this probably the most out of everything. Here's another torque wrench. It looks like 3/8 probably by, who even knows? Looks like Craftsman. And then I really liked the old Craftsman stuff. This is their flex. I wish it had a locking mechanism. It just has detents, but it's got the push button release. And that's a VVT series. These are pretty cool and sought after. And I have that in the 3/8 and the 1/2. I've saved those. Easy Red, I have a lot of their stuff. That's Easy Red, just a 1/4 inch. Breaker bars, I never use them. And then at the top, this was like my first ratchet. I used the hell out of this thing. It's their little extension. It's got the 1/4 on one side and the 3/8 on the other. I beat this ratchet. I probably did like, I don't know, at least 100 hours on that little thing and never, I put pipes on it and everything. I could never break it. So there you go. It's a good starter one. And then a couple of other small ratchets up here. Something's weird, I always keep it. Like this crescent ratchet is just weird. You know, when you see a ratchet that is nobody else has a profile like it, I just keep it. Anytime I find something cool. A lot of these guys used to plasti dip stuff. So here's a Craftsman V series, which is probably the best, the straight V series for Craftsman. He plasti dipped everything. I remember this guy's tool, and all the plasti dip was peeling off. But obviously nobody uses a 1/4 inch breaker bar, so it looks perfect. So I kept it because it's kind of cool. Below that is going to be, I have 2 icon sets. These are both stubby wrenches, SAE and metric. And then this is older ratchets. I mean, some of these are, I don't even know. This is like Wilby Lane, Chicago, Illinois. Like, it's just cool. Like, it doesn't even have, like, the ratcheting mechanism is external. And then to switch it, you actually like pull this lever up. It's a pain to do, but then you slide it over. And now it's in reverse. It's very strange. Anytime I see something like this, I keep. This is an old Cornwell. It doesn't even have a part number on it, and it's blackened, but it's a ratchet. Probably, I would say at least 60 years old, judging by the patina on it. And then vintage snap-on, vintage snap-on, snap-on, snap-on. And this is like Fleet. This was a really bad tool company. At least I never thought their tools were high quality, but they were USA made, so it just goes to show you even USA made stuff was bad, but it's just bulky, and it has, I mean, everything has a lot of slop in it. Keep that kind of stuff because it's fun to look at. This is my wrench drawer. I remember when I got this set. This is like the first big wrench set I ever got. It's Sunex. I don't use it very often, but I keep it because it does go higher than some of my other sets. It goes all the way to 32. Not that I use 32, but it does have a similar bite as like a flank drive wrench. They're okay. For the money, that's a good set. These are little ignition wrenches. I don't use them very much either. Those are ignition, and yeah, these are too. Yeah, these are 4-way wrenches, so they're not, small 4-way wrenches are not very common. I keep them. They're fun. These are double boxed, and even I like making this type of stuff. You know, it's like, how do you store tools? I don't know. I spent too much time thinking about how to store tools, but it's got a 0-degree offset, so that it's not angled like most wrenches. That's what your offset is. So that's going to have an offset. This is not an offset, so you can go like this, boom, 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 get in there. I don't ever use these, but they're cool. There's some more crow's feet back there. I thought I had more. I don't know where the rest are. There's some over here. A couple adjustable wrenches. You have like flare nut wrenches, spline wrenches. I use this set probably the most. This is a VV series Craftsman, USA made. It goes 22 to 8, and then I have the same set over here, which is a true V series. That's a really nice wrench set for the $1, and it's from a 1/4 inch all the way up to a 1 5/16. So that's a pretty big set. And that's what I was saying in some of the other videos we looked at toolboxes. This is why that top drawer needs to be deep, because when you start storing wrenches like this, especially on the bigger end, they take up a lot of room. You know, they take up a lot of depth rather. And then these are ratcheting wrenches. This is gear wrench and crescent ratchet wrenches. And then these are more stubbies. So like these I probably got, these are not even branded. I got these before the icon set, but they just stay in there because they fit. That's the power drawer if you guys want to see how that's laid out. We have a lot of tools because this is going to be like Ryobi. That's our gardening tools, yard tools. Our yard's small, so we use a 18-volt Ryobi batteries on the lawnmower. A Milwaukee for most of the power tools, auto-related, and then DeWalt is still going to be in here a bit because I think I have some tools that are only DeWalt. Maybe a palm sander. I think that's the reason that's there. And those two up there I never even use. And then Black & Decker is like a hedge trimmer. So I have a lot of platforms, but it's because like I don't want to buy a new hedge trimmer just to match the platform. I use it once a year. It's not worth it. And yeah, I ran chargers on both sides. I tell you guys to do that a lot. You know, you don't really have that many outlets here, but now there's one on this side and one on this side, and it's still controlled off the same breaker. All this stuff takes like milliamps to even use, and it's 15 amps, so it's not going to hurt it. That's a bit drawer. One of these was inside of that Matco box, or actually a Mac Maximizer cart. It was pink. When we opened it up, they had a pink one of these. I really like these things. They're like $80. I would buy many of them if you guys have the room for them. You know, they're great for storing this kind of stuff. They remind me of the speed drawer for the Snap-on boxes, but they're a little bit smaller, and they fit inside of Matco's shallowest drawers. So if you're trying to store things like, you know, extensions or adapters or drill bits, they work great. This entire drawer is drill bits. Like, how do you say it? H-U-O-T, is it Hout or Huit? Whatever. That's what this set here is. I think this is probably my most expensive, one of my most expensive tools, honestly. And there it is, yeah. They all come out of Minnesota, but I've broken quite a few. But that's a huge set. I keep a lot of drill bits because sometimes it's easier just to get a new set than replace the ones you've broken or lost. And on the smaller side, you're always breaking those little ones. So that's drill bits. That's the exact same set. It's just smaller. This is really old. Those are Triumph. They've been gone for decades. And then there's like a Snap-on set in here I don't really use, but it's in there. I always keep these two because they're so expensive. And if you have like one, they're not really worth selling. So I have like dozens of these. In fact, I think I just added a Matco one. Yeah, I added that one yesterday. It's like a brand new burr. But there's a die grinder down there. I just don't use them very much. But I save them because they're a pain to buy. It sucks spending $60 on a drill bit. And then down here is going to be some air tools. We used to have a compressor in here. I got rid of it a while ago. I don't remember why. I just never used it. So there are some tools in here that I can't even use here anymore. Like there's my Blue Point air hammer. I have a Snap-on one at work, so I don't really use this one ever, but it's here. And then like here's a chisel, air chisel. There's a needler somewhere in here. A brad nailer, speed ratchets. I just don't use this stuff. A little light, I don't use. I think it came in a kit. It's a mouse sander. Don't ever use it. And then these are all big polishers and a corded random orbital sander. And then a huge die grinder. This thing is a beast. And I want to say it was a good brand. I don't even know who made this thing. But I've used it before, and that's way too much power for a die grinder, so I don't use it anymore. That's screwdriver drawer. I just took a piece of wood, lined up the screwdrivers with what I wanted, threw it through a drill press to drill the holes in accordance to how thick the screwdriver was, and then ran it through a table saw to rip it in half, and it works really good. There's no tape or adhesive or anything, but it keeps the screwdrivers trapped down there so they can move around, but it's not like they can go anywhere. I mean, the most they're gonna do is slide a bit, but they stay in there great. It's cheap, and it's the easiest way I've found to store screwdrivers and have zero wasted space. I mean, and then like once again, like, I mean, you're talking, I use these are junk, so these are essentially pry bars. Then a nicer set of Craftsman, but then I have my Snap-on if I really care about not stripping a screw. And then I have my cabinet Milwaukee screwdrivers, so these are very long. And then Cornwell, which are really small screwdrivers. All of them are, I don't know what you want to call them. They're not quite as small as a jeweler screwdriver, but they're all very small. And then like jeweler screwdrivers, small guys. Impact driver. Trim pad tools by both Snap-on and Mac. And then I think this is, yeah. I don't ever use this. This is like a great idea, and a lot of you guys have these things, the ratcheting screwdrivers. I just don't like them. I mean, I think I'm quicker with my hand than with a ratcheting screwdriver. I mean, if you're just spinning a fastener, I don't know. It just seems like extra work. It's a cool idea. I understand why people buy it. I've never once grabbed that tool, but I kept it. The wrench pliers fit great in these 4S's. They're the plier racks. I like them a lot. These are all going to be Knipex, Knipex, whatever you want to say. A couple of junk cobalt. I think this is Crescent. These are Vlamp pliers. These are great. This brand right here, Vampire. And there you have it. This Vamp pliers. If you're looking for a good pair of side cuts, these things are a beast. I have cut through bolts with them. They don't break. And then a couple of larger, just my large Knipex pliers, and that's about it. It's a gear wrench set. I really like it. A lot of you guys have the Blue Point version of this. That's fine. The Blue Point set is pretty cheap. Matco has an ADV version of this set that's also pretty cheap. But I like this gear wrench set. I wonder if I have the part number for it. I'd see this set very rarely in toolboxes. I would recommend it. There's no part number on it. But I've never had a Torx that wasn't here, even on some of the smaller ends. I mean, it's got 3/8. It goes all the way. It's a 1/4 inch, 3/8, and a 1/2 inch drive, and then you have Torx and you have hex, and then you have E-Torx. E-Torx or inverted Torx, and then you have the long ones. So I broke this one. I've broken a couple of them. A gear wrench is easy to warranty from. You just call them or email them. They send you a new one. So that's a triple square set, nut drivers by Craftsman, little tiny jeweler's Torx, and some various Allen keys. This is my hammer drawer. Like, I don't know. This is cool. It's a little brass hammer. So I tried to refinish it because when I got it, it was badly mushroomed, but I don't know. I keep framing hammers. I have a couple of different dead blows. Actually, there's no dead blow in here. They must be in another drawer. You have little mini sledges, a couple of axes. There's the dead blows. This is Trusty Cooks, I think. These are great. They're made here, and they're cheap. This is a little vacuum Ryobi. It sucks. Don't buy it. Or it doesn't suck, rather. That's why you shouldn't buy it. But there's a light. I use the light sometimes, especially if you're underneath the vehicle. And these are all USA made dead blows, and they're super cheap, so I try to save them. It's a headlight. We already looked at this one. Yeah, there's the rest of my crow's feet. I knew I had more. So there's line wrench crow's feet. And then there is just standard crow's feet. So if you're trying, use these to get torque on something, you can't get you want to get a torque wrench on, but you can't get a 6-point fastener or socket on it. These work. I don't use them very much, but these get lent out all the time. This is probably my most lent out tool, and it'll usually be someone needing a specific size. It's rare that they take the whole set, but they're there. I like this set too. It's a gear wrench set. So it's got the 0-degree offset, and then it's the same on both sides. So 1919, you break it free, and then it's a ratchet. There's a SATA set. I don't even know what's in that. I think it's actually, I'll say it is a, it's going to be a wheel flip socket. I'll think, oh, I need a tool like a wheel flip socket. And then like next thing you know, I have like 10 sets of them because I forget that I keep bringing a set home. So I have like 4 wheel flip sets in here, but it is what it is. These are pipe wrenches. These are cool. I used to refinish a lot of tools. This has like a clear coat on it to prevent the rust, but the patina on it is beautiful. So I keep a lot of this stuff. It works good. Rigid pipe wrenches are actually pretty expensive, but I try to keep them when I get them. Like this one I cleaned up, but I didn't clear. So the rust is gone from it, trying to leave as much paint. This one I did clear, and then this is just a small one. These are line clamps. Hardly ever use them. This one works the best out of all of them. And then down here is another router. There's one in that router table, but these are all router bits. Router bits are kind of expensive, especially good ones. This one's PPE. It's all mostly protections. You have respirators, masks. When we were doing a lot of woodworking, we didn't have a ventilation system in here, so it would get so cloudy, especially in the winter. This would help your lungs. There were some days I'd work all day and then my lungs would be shot for like a week. So we tried to use the 3M respirators, and I bought a ton of the different filters for it. This little anvil came from a family member that passed away, so that's cool. This is a Matco brush set, and the rest is just, there's a couple of saws in here. There's blades in here. This is for the table saw that's not even here right now, but you have like gloves, masks, safety glasses. And that's about it. These are for sharpening chisels. They're There should be a whetstone in here. I don't even know where the whetstone is, but that's what those are. This was mostly woodworking tools. This is going to be chisels. This is files, both bastard wood files and also metal files. I like this tool a lot. I use it all the time. Matco sells one that's almost the exact same, but this is a Cornwell one. It's a extending indexable pry bar, but I use it a lot, especially if you're trying to get somewhere you can't get a full pry bar. You know, you can get this the exact length. If you're in a vehicle, we don't have a lift in here, so a lot of times you're working under something, it's just hard to get taller or the space to work on something, so something like this gives you that adjustable amount of leverage. And this is a slug buster. That's an old Craftsman. An old Craftsman pry bar. Don't ever use it. These are Pittsburgh, I think. I don't ever use them either. And then punches. This drawer needs to get sorted out. When I get more tools in, this drawer will probably get condensed down. At one point, these files were like here. So everything as I expand just gets condensed down. Like there's a huge wedge back there. Like that type of stuff, I don't really have a reason to keep. But if I have room to keep it, I'll just keep it. And there is whetstones. I knew I had them in one of these drawers. So these are for the chisels. And also for the hand planes. You take the blades out of them and you use this tool to get a perfect edge on them. It's kind of fun, actually. Oh, this is cool. I bought this off a mechanic when I bought all of his tools. I don't know if you can see the finish on it, but it's like brass inlaid carbon fiber, and it's a Benchmade. But I don't know, I keep a lot of that stuff. These are micrometer or calipers. Once again, that's a plasti dipped one. That's funny, but they're little eyeglasses. Those are really nice, especially when you're rebuilding something tiny. I think that one is one too. Yeah, that's what those are. These are little tiny levels. Our big levels are all back there. That's an antique wood level, but my big one there. And my nice one is here. My framing level is here. Along with my framing square. All that stuff just kind of gets filled around here. We didn't show that either when I'm thinking of it. That's a wood rack. That's made by Bora, B-O-R-A. That thing is really nice. I think it was off of Amazon, like $100, but we used to have 5 times this lumber. I bought a ton. I brought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of board feet. That's sugar maple up there. That's sugar maple. That's walnut. That's coffee nut. I bought a bunch of lumber. This is what's left of it. I sold back a lot of it when I quit woodworking, but I would buy it kiln dried, but pretty raw, so you'd have to plane it. It would have warps in it. It took a lot of work to get it nice, but this stuff was cheap, and it came from trees that were grown here, which was cool. Grown in Carmel, actually, I think is where that sugar maple came from, which is 20 minutes from here. Okay, got distracted. Yeah, I just keep a lot of this stuff. Like, I don't know if it's cool, I just keep it. Like, here's a crazy looking, like, I've never even heard of it. Schrade. It looks nice. I mean, the finish on it is nice. That blade is a bit dull, but look at the patina on it. So it's cool. You know, when I get something like this, it had a little, I don't know what the secondary sheath was, maybe a fire starter. I don't know, but you can even see that's from the brass. So I keep a lot of that type of thing. Even weird things like this, like, I don't know, this is probably like a railroad wrench or something. I'm sure there's some Kenosha, Wisconsin, but it is cool. So it's in my box forever now. Has a shift knob. Looks like a 44 mag. I don't know. If there's room for it, it ends up in the box. There's another crazy, this is called a spud wrench, I believe. It's what like iron workers use. You can jam this in the holes between I-beams. This is a small one, usually they're bigger. You can get leverage on it to try to pull the pieces of steel together before you drop a bolt on it. And it's a 3/8 and a 1/2 inch. These are cool, but I don't ever use it. These are the tools I need to keep. I try to write that down so I can stop taking doubles of things and also things I need. So I have sold like 100 of these ratchets, the electric Milwaukee ratchets. I just keep forgetting to keep one. I need a 1/2 inch and 3/8. I have one at work, but I wish I had one here. And then I need a 3/8 to a 1/2 inch impact adapter. Everybody makes these in chrome. They make them in impact. They're just uncommon. Like every set is it's a 3/8 to a 1/2 inch chrome. And I want one that can be impact so I can put, use my mid-torque stubby 3/8 on 1/2 inch fasteners. Yeah, a lot of this stuff. Oh, I used to keep a ton of mini tools. I wonder where my mini tools are. I used to have, maybe they are in here. Yeah, I always kept, if it's like a little tool, I always kept it because it's like funny. Like, look, it's a, what is this? Is this a hammer? I don't know. A lot of you guys have this stuff in your boxes. Like, it's a little tiny adjustable wrench, a little screwdriver. I always keep those things. These are all flints. These are Yankee drills. These are cool. Yeah, you spin them. But yeah, little tchotchkes. This is a snap-on ratchet, but it's a pen. A bunch of tire gauges, brass. This one when I was learning to weld. We don't have a welder here. It's at work, but there's a welding mask here. There's a Smith & Wesson knife with like pearl handles. I don't know. Sometimes I forget what I even have. I like come look at my own stuff. It's like a treasure hunt. These are cool. I always liked these. Like back before tape measures. So these were wood rulers and you could take them to a job site and they would all fold up. A lot of these have the coolest wear on them. This one's pretty mild, but some of them are well broken in and it's neat to see how far that stuff has come. This is all going to be pop rivets. I have a lot of clamps. Oh yeah, the clamps over here too. This is where all my clamps are stored besides my metal clamps. These are all for woodworking. Boom, 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 boom. I save these. This is Jorgensen. They're nice. I have a bunch of them somewhere in this garage. Little tiny ones. This is about half my clamps. Most of them are at work because I do use them at work when I'm working on things. My metal clamps are all over in one of these drawers. These are square clamps. I used those on that project. I showed it that frame with the Lego pictures. That's why I think I got those. And then just a bunch of different pop rivets. And then also you have a couple different pipe cutters here. Yeah, 3 of them. I guess 4 of them. And then a flaring set. There's a full flaring set in here because I did a break. All of the lines on the S10 I redid, so there's a full flaring set somewhere. Oh, I just kept this. This is a nice little set. It's a tap and die set by Gear Wrench. It's definitely not great quality. They don't feel fantastic, but I don't know. They would work one time, and that's probably all I would need them for, but I used to save all that too. It's like one of those weird things I just kind of hoarded. Like, I don't know why. I didn't want to throw them away, but they're not really worth any money. And I bought a lot of machinists out. So, I mean, I just have like cases and cases full of, and some of them are used and some of them are like brand new. But, I mean, all of these on this side are all just taps and dies. And I think this stuff will ultimately, when I need the room, all the tap and dies will go into one of these drawers. I'm just not sure. Well, one, these are all rubber faucets, the grips for inside of sinks. I don't ever use those. So it'll probably replace that drawer. And all of these will end up there. But that's a super old Blue Point. This is back before, this is before Snap-on acquired Blue Point. This is when Blue Point was still an independent company. And it's a tap and die set. I kept it because it's just cool. The taps are pretty well shot, but it's a neat set. This is some pullers. And also stuff for oil changes. So this is the different filters for the vehicles that we have, these 3. And then the rest of them are at work for the other vehicles we maintain. But these are pullers. I just kept this one. This is a little Mac. I don't know if these things even work. I can't imagine they work very well. We just buy the right filter socket for every socket or for size that we need, but I don't know. I'm going to try it and see if I like it because a lot of you guys have them in boxes, so it's like one of those tools I see. Every oil tech has that one, but no master mechanic has one. Like when a guy retires, he never has that. So I don't know if it's because they phase them out and it's like a good starter tool, but if they were worked well, I would just assume everybody would have them instead of even having these. This guy does not work. I'm not a huge fan of these things. It just seems like if it's tight enough that you really need to use this tool, it's tight enough that this tool won't work. So it's like a weird application. If it's like perfectly hand tight, that thing works great, but if it was hand tight, you could just take it off with your hand. Oh, we didn't show these drawers, did we? We showed all these. Boom, 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 boom. This is all sanding. These are discs, flapper discs, stones for die grinders. These are all for palm sanders. Yeah, if you guys buy these, little things. Don't buy the ones off Amazon. I bought these little junk ones off Amazon. They're so cheap, but they work for like 2 minutes and then they just clog up and I replace them. I should have just bought a better set, like 3Ms. So I won't buy those again, but that's what all these are. And then brushes, bristle pads, wire brushes, steel wool, nylon brushes, and sand. This entire stack back here is sandpaper and more steel wool. I tried to have everything sorted out to where it makes sense. Here's a scanner. My full screen's not here. It should have been, I don't even know where it would have fit in this drawer, but that's usually where it is. You have your meters and then zip ties, heat shrink, different electrical connectors, my soldering iron, I use this a lot. That's another tool I should get is the Milwaukee electric one. I'll write that down when this video is done because I have one at work. I use it all the time. I love it. And this is a Weller. It takes forever to heat up. And this came out of one of the first boxes I bought, this plastic tray, so I kept it. It's kind of cool. It was an SK box actually, and this fit the drawer perfectly. It almost fits this one. And then giant zip ties in the back. And these are waterproof little wing nuts. This is miscellaneous stuff. These are the handles to these boxes, and then just like lots. I mean, like realistically, most of the stuff should just get thrown away. But this goes to the planer, this goes to a lawnmower, that goes to a speaker. I don't have any more. A lot of this stuff just gets thrown in this bottom drawer. This is off the ceiling. Yeah, if you want to show this is what we did. That used to be in the ceiling back before, but now we just split it. I put a little box in there and then ran these fluorescent bulbs on both sides. Boom, boom. So that way when you just flip on the garage light, it just turns on all these lights. And they're all just powered off the same outlet and I don't have to rewire much. And then there's a little one over here. I think light is the best thing in a shop. It makes a big difference, especially Indiana when it's like 5 o'clock, it gets dark out in the winter and it's cold. It does help to have a lot of light. They probably will put another one back here. I just haven't got around to it. The bench vise is here. I don't use this much because it's not mounted anywhere. So I need to mount it somewhere because every time I get it out, it's a pain to even use because I have to like rig it up with clamps. And my creeper is here. On the bottom, there's a bunch of other stuff. So like there's his pavers. We don't throw away much. So this is pavers from there. This is shingles from when we redid the roof. And then these are lifts. That's a 3-ton Pittsburgh. It works great for the money. I like it a lot. And then also that's a Speedy Lift 2.5 ton. So sometimes if we're just trying to do like a tire rotation, it's nice to have 2 jacks because you can just take the whole side of the vehicle up or the whole front of the vehicle up and not have to worry about jack stands because you're not really getting under it anyway. And then like on that side, that's all the siding from when we redid siding on the house. I saved all those pieces so down the road if I need them, they're there. I try to be efficient with the storage here and never get rid of anything because you don't know when you're going to need it. This is my power tool drawer. This is what I will say, I really like the quality of these boxes. When people ask like, are they as nice as whatever? I don't know. They're not as nice as some Snap-ons. You'll notice it when you open it. It has a little bit of it's not perfect, but also there's a lot of weight in this drawer. These are both 3/4 inch drive SAE and metric. This is cool. I just bought this or brought it home. I didn't pay for it. It came in a toolbox, but once again, it's by Easy Red, but it's also a 3/4 inch. I don't know when I'll use it much. My wife's car, I don't know what was I doing something on there and I used one of these sockets. I think it's the only time I've even touched them. And then Milwaukee, so we've slowly been switching over to Milwaukee. So you have like an M12 die grinder. That's a stubby 3/8 mid torque, quarter hex. That's a hacksaw and a sawzall, both 18s. That's an old school. I want the newer version. I just haven't got around to buying one. Grinder. This is a random orbital tool. This is your drill, a hammer drill. This is your high torque 3/8 and your high torque 1/2 inch. So I wish I had the ratchets. The ratchets would go there. But I try to keep some stuff together. Like these are the discs for this grinder or for the die grinder. And then also the oscillating pads for your random oscillator here. And there's a blade somewhere in here for it, the multi-tool blade. This is more fasteners. This entire drawer is fasteners. So this is, I try to sort it once again. So this is mostly nails on this side, and then this is mostly screws. with stuff that I use the most common forward. So this is going to be like your number 2s and your number 6s. Or these are both number 6s. These are 2" and 1 1/4. That's just like the generic screw for everything. You guys know. A lot of this stuff is redundant of what's up there. But also, even this, I mean, we don't throw much away. So even screws, you never know. I'll save it, and someday my kids can throw it away. This is a master ball joint service set. I bought it for a job, used it once. This is some type of sander. It's one of the square sanders where you like wrap the paper on. I don't like it. These are more sorters. I save them for down the road. That's what all these fasteners are in. Those little blister packs, rope. This is all the paperwork for everything. That's a coolant flush kit. It's not a good set. I wouldn't buy it again. And then this is all the paperwork for these boxes. But this is the paperwork for everything. We also save all that. I never even read the manuals when I buy the thing, but for some reason I save the manuals. Like in a year I'm going to read them. I'm just not, but whatever. I don't throw them away. And then that's a really old school hand planer, electric planer. This is the only 18 volt DeWalt I still have, and I need to get it switched because I actually use it quite frequently, but they make an adapter that you plug the 20s in. It works fine. I just need to switch this to Milwaukee. And then my palm sander, my random orbital palm sander, I use that a lot. I just haven't switched it over to Milwaukee. I have a Milwaukee. I just leave it at work now. And then this is all the torches, the fake map gas, whatever you want to call that stuff. Knockoff map gas, Map Pro, whatever you want to call it. And then just standard propane. And that's 2 more tanks are in here. This stuff's for like cleaning out your air ducts from your dryer. A lot of things, times I don't have anywhere to put something, so I just get jammed into a box, jammed into a drawer. This is a Dremel. I don't even know what's in here. Another Dremel. I don't know why I have 2 Dremels. I don't ever use them. And like this is another tool I would never use. I have a scroll saw. I just don't ever use them because I have a Milwaukee one, an 18 Milwaukee. And these are both corded, but I just save it. It fits for now, so it'll stay till it doesn't fit. This is just extension cords. These should go in a plastic tub over in one of those, but once again, there's the rooms. They just stay here. This is clamps. This drawer should get done better. I don't really need this many clamps, but they're cool. And these are everything here. I mean, some of them are junk, but some of these are really cool. They're old, old, old. Forged steel, heat treated, made in USA. And I can't even read the name. Number 54. The Super Junior. I don't know. It's cool when you find an old tool that's like 60 years old. And I mean, they still line up like, I mean, that's like perfect. And it's clearly been used many times. So I save all those. If it's a USA made clamp, like this is a Williams. They make good bench devices. That stuff stays because they are really expensive to buy. These are Ponies. Ponies made the first pipe clamps, which I don't have any in here. They're at work, but they're clamps you just put on a piece of pipe. That's Harbor Freight. This piece of trim. When I bought this box, it didn't have this trim, and this corner was all chewed up, so we touched it up, but I called Matco at the time. This was many years ago before I had the relationships I have now, and I could not get this. They said it was back-ordered, like indefinitely, which I don't know why. You can order it now, so I just put this piece on there. I have a bunch of spare pieces at work. I just never changed it. I kind of like it there. It's a little bit different. This is a tire repair kit. I don't even know I have this. Cool. This thing is neat. This is and there's my caliper set. Yeah. For wind back brakes. And then these are neat. It's like a ratcheting. This piece here, you like pull it out. And then it engages with these teeth inside of it. And then it gives you a ratcheting mechanism. And this is for threading pipes, but this set is old. This is made out of Toledo. It came from Toledo. It's got a trademark on it, but I don't see. Toledo Pipe Threading Machine Company. They just named themselves exactly what they were, but they are really cool and they're in great condition. And the teeth are all sharp, and you can actually take the teeth out and sharpen them. It's just a cool set. It's not something I'll probably ever use, but I don't know, even it has Toledo. I don't know. Why not save it? It's either that or it goes in the scrap pile, and some of this stuff I just don't want to see it go to the scrap pile. That's more sugar maple up there. I'm sure this video was long. I could probably talk about tools all day long. This is just what I have currently, not including my shop setup. I think one of my points I'd like to make is I buy a variety of tools. I think a lot of people think or say, you know, like I'm a tool snob. I only like to buy tools that are, you know, Snap-on or whatever. This really isn't the case. I buy everything, and I like all tools, and I think all tools kind of have the, you know, a certain niche or a certain place. There's like my 3/4 inch set. I've had many Snap-on 3/4 inch sets. I would never keep them because they're absurdly expensive and they resell very well, and I never use them. But if I was like a diesel mechanic, a lot of you guys have Snap-on 3/4 inch stuff, and it makes sense because you're using it every day. Where my 3/8 are, you know, better brand Snap-on, and that's because I use my 3/8 a lot more. So I think it's hard when I buy a box and every single tool is Harbor Freight. It's also hard when I buy a box and every single tool is Snap-on. I think in my mind, tools should be a mix. You should look whatever best fits your needs, how frequently you're using something, and if there's a comparable product of the same quality, and how easy is things to service. You know, Gear Wrench right now is very easy to service. Craftsman is still easy to service. They'll send you a new one if it gets damaged. But also the service you get from something like Matco or Snap-on is really nice. So there is some tools in there I keep, and then when they need warranted, I bring them to the shop, and I don't have to mess with trying to drive somewhere to replace them. Although I have not broken many tools, I also do not wrench that much. And I wish I had more time for it, but someday I tell myself I will. You know, I'm young, I'm not even 30 yet, and all these tools will have a lifetime of use ahead of them with me. So I tell myself when I find something, maybe in 20 years, I'll have a use for it, and we'll put it in these boxes until that happens. In another video, I ripped upon the Matco Jamestown cart, the JSC 773. That being said, I wanted one forever, even after I knew the issues with it, because they had a purple one, and I wanted it to go here. I could just never find a purple one, and I really don't need the storage. So for now, this will stay. I think the future is going to be getting a second 54 and moving these things down. I'll probably get rid of that US General black cabinet. That thing came for free from a family friend who got it in a trailer. And this will probably sit down there, and I'll put a second 54 on top of this as a top chest because these things are pretty cheap. You can get them for under 15. So I'll probably put a second one above it, and it would fit just underneath the garage door there. So that's probably what my next project will be when I have time or when I find a good deal on one. And they interface together pretty well. So the tops on them annoy me. This is pine, this is maple, and this is pine. I have this piece in maple, but it's an inch thicker than what this piece is. And it annoys me they don't line up. It's currently at work. So I'm waiting till I can either find another good deal on a thicker piece for this one or a thinner piece maple for this one, and then they'll match. That one on the end will probably stay pine forever because I don't want to move this thing because it weighs a ton. You got to take all the drawers out, and even this thing empty with no drawers in it is still like 60 pounds. So it'll probably stay up there forever, but this is also pine. This one wears a lot better. This one's got a lot more damage in it. I don't know. I saved these things. These are cool. I saw them. You put like blocks in them. I don't know if you guys ever use something like this. But like you put a 2x4 in here, boom, and then you can have it on the ground, and then you can kilt it up. So that way when you cut it, you don't have to have your saw running into the ground. But everyone just sticks their foot under it anyway, and that's what I've been doing. So I don't know. They call it Lumberlock plate vices. They look cool. There's a triangle one there. I just don't use them. So I kept them. All the magnetic trays are up underneath there. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show. I just do want to say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys' support. Hitting 1,000 subscribers is pretty cool. And actually, it's like 1,100 today. We blew past 1,000 pretty fast. It was 1,000, and the next day it was like 1,100. So we're going to continue making videos looking at toolboxes. I'm passionate about these things. That's kind of why I wanted to show you guys my personal setup. I'm not just into tools because it's a way to make money. I'm into tools because they're cool. And that's what ultimately keeps me coming back, buying boxes full of tools, is trying to find that thing maybe I don't have yet or something that I like more than what I already have, and then trading it out and continuing to grow the personal collection. I think the next project is getting a bigger house. You know, I need more space. I need more space. This is a 2-car garage, and a lot of, when you guys come to talk to me, I say, maybe you don't want a 30-inch box, because we did at one point have 30-inch boxes in here, and I switched back to the 24s because the 30 inches came out to like here. And then when you opened the drawers, they were like to here. Where right now the drawers are to here. But you got to think you get, you know, another 5 inches off the drawer, another 5 inches off the back. So you're, you know, you're well out to here. And then by the time you need to be able to stand in front of the drawer, you got to be way out here. There was no room to work on a vehicle. So that's something I'll say. If you guys are considering a setup like this, just running boxes down a garage, this is a 2-car garage, barely a 2-car garage. And I can work on a vehicle really easily in here. I have room to get all the way around it on every side and get jacks underneath it. But if I go to a bigger box, I don't. That's why I use the Matco 4S's. I think for the price, it's the best 24 or 25 inch deep box that there is. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, guys. The pinned top comment will be the link to enter the giveaway, and I will see you soon.